Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm doing my review of AEW All Out 2025. So starting off the show, we had Adam Copeland and Christian Cage defeat FTR, and this was good. It was a solid match. There was a great debut, which we'll get to, and great storytelling after the match, which was good as well. It was an evenly contested matchup. Like, for the most part, there was no clear team in control at one point. Maybe FTR got a more percentage of the match, but not by that much. For me, there was really no clear MVP. All four guys had really good showings here. It made sense that FTR separated Christian Cage, as Adam Copeland arguably is the more popular of the two in Canada, so that made sense to me, obviously, for the hot tag. I love the homage to John Cena that Copeland did, and yeah, it was a nice touch of the match. We saw the first two of many sharpshooters on the show here. However, FTR slapping each other to kind of get them all riled up is like to get them out of the submissions. I thought it was very interesting to go about it, but also very, very FTR way to go about it. Beth Copeland debuted, obviously formerly known as Beth Phoenix, in case you don't know, and yeah, no, it was a solid debut. She had a pretty cool theme, and I believe it's another Old Bridge song. Can't remember exactly which one it is, but yeah, very much like the theme. And yeah, it was a solid spear that she did to Stokely before taking him away. After the power driver to Copeland, I thought that was it, and it wasn't the case. Then the counter to spear with a shatter machine, I thought that was going to be it, because I assumed that FTR were going to get the win here. But well, I wanted FTR to get the win. I predicted Edge and Christian, but yeah, I kind of wanted FTR to win because it made more sense to give them the win, but that wasn't the case. Kind of, for me, Copeland near the end got to like an unrealistic kick-out situation, like very similar to Sami Zayn in the tag team match at WrestleMania 39's main event. But yeah, like, because you think about it, pile driver and a shot machine only gets a kick out of 2, but then one spear to Cash gets a 3. That doesn't really make any sense, especially of how the match went. But the post-match attack was very clever, whether FTR and the Patriarchy, or whatever they're going to call themselves now, so Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, whether they're like, they have some kind of agreement going, whether they organise something to orchestrate the attack at the end, we don't know. Beth Copeland, that's going to be hard to get used to, actually. Sacrificing herself, it was a bold move for a debut, and I actually quite liked it. I respected it a lot. I like the fact that she just got dropped on her head like first move in, but yeah, I think it's going to help the story along. I assume we're going to get a rematch between these teams at some point with some kind of stipulation added now, or whether they do some kind of what I'd like to see. Not that I want to skip ahead too far, but what I'd quite like to see is Copeland, Cage, Jungle Boy or Jack Perry and Luchasaurus against FTR and the Patriarchy. I feel like that would be a pretty decent match with some kind of stipulation, or whether it just be Texas Tornado so they can just kind of beat the crap out of each other for a while. I felt that'd be quite cool. But yeah, overall, it was a good match. It wasn't my favourite match. I felt like it was one of the more weaker matches on the card. But yeah, it made for good moments with obviously the debut and the attack afterwards, and Beth being taken out like straight away. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of development, and this feels like the start of something that will go on for quite a while. Following that, we had the return of Eddie Kingston defeating Big Bill, and yeah, this was a fine match. It was very random. Second place on the card kind of felt right for this one, but there was no real quality behind this one. Like, I didn't find myself kind of shocked by the result, shocked by the quality of the match. It just kind of went exactly how I expected it to. It was kind of disappointing because of such a big return, but yeah, it wasn't really anything special. I would have really put this on September to Remember rather than the pay-per-view. I feel like it would have had a better place on that card. But, you know, it is what it is. Kingston, in my opinion, deserved a lot more upon return. Obviously, he was feuding with Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks before being injured. I know it was 16 months ago and stuff moves on, but, you know, for him to maybe get involved in the Lights Out Steel Cage and go after Gabe Kidd probably would have been a little bit better, or have him get involved in Anarchy in the Arena if he was okay at that point. But no, I expected a lot more for him upon return rather than facing a guy that's lower than the mid-card. But, you know, it is what it is. The match itself was mainly strike-based from both guys, so it was very, like, back and forth, but, like, not in a great way. Eddie went on a complete chops galore. The black hole slam, or the spinning side slam, that Eddie Kingston took was taken really badly the first time, and then the second one wasn't as bad, but yeah, both times it didn't look very good. Like, either way, what made Big Bill look good here is the fact that he got hit with the Hurricane and got kicked out at one and got straight back up again. Makes him look strong, makes him look like a real powerhouse. But the second Hurricane that happened completely missed him, and then it put him down for 3. I understand that would have been the case, but Eddie Kingston is not an idiot, and ideally what they should have done was just what they should have done is just him done another Hurricane straight away, so 2 quick Hurricanes, and then gone for the pin, because it also would have made Big Bill look strong as well as everything else. But yeah, so not great from this one. After the match, we saw Brian Keith attack Eddie Kingston, and they kind of do a 2-on-1 attack. Hook came out to help Eddie Kingston. Do I think they're going to team up? Maybe. Hook suggested on September to Remember, I believe, or he suggested at some point that he was going to maybe be on it by himself, maybe by himself, or maybe with a team. So maybe Eddie Kingston and Hook are going to become a tag team, or just become people that are associated together. But yeah, overall, pretty disappointing match. Didn't need to be on the pay-per-view, and probably should have been on September to Remember. After that, we had Mark Briscoe defeat MJF in a Tax and Tables match, and this was crazy. I absolutely love this one. Tax almost completely covered the entire ring mat. Almost. There was a few gaps in it, but, you know, for the most part, it covered the ring. Briscoe bled a load, as I fully expected him to. If anything, MJF probably should have bled a little bit more, but that's me kind of nitpicking. I understand maybe why they didn't, but yeah, I mean, Briscoe bled enough for the both of them, essentially. But no, I really enjoyed this one. I cringed a lot, not because it was cringy, because the violence involved and landing on Tax always makes me cringe. But no, the Tax in the mouth looks grim. Mark Briscoe took a load of abuse, and that Alabama slam on the Tax looked absolutely awful and split open the back of Mark's head. So then he was kind of bleeding from both sides of his head, and yeah, he just absolutely blood buckets. Yeah, it was very much my style of match. This was a huge win for Mark Briscoe to get a pin over MJF. I thought was huge for him. Do I think they're going to use that win for anything? Probably not. I'm also very curious to see who MJF feuds with next. I presume this is a feud ender. So yeah, that's it. A lot of positives come out of this one. Absolutely loved the violence. Definitely something straight down my alley. Yeah, really fun match overall, and yeah, I'm curious to see what both of them go on and do next, because Mark Briscoe should be taking advantage of this win because it's so big, and I'm looking forward to see who MJF feuds with next. After that, we had The Demand, which is Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, defeating the Hurt Syndicate, which is MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. And yeah, this was a decent match. It was a good match with the right winners, in my opinion. I loved how everything is so calculated with the Hurt Syndicate throughout all their matches. MVP looked great, in my opinion. I know he hasn't wrestled since January, and then before then it was even longer. But yeah, he looked great here. I thought that he did really well. The dynamic of the Gates of Agony and Ricochet put together was shown really well here, and you could tell that they have been really working hard to make this work, and it's something I look forward to seeing in for a long time in the future. I'd say that the Hurt Syndicate controlled this match for the majority of it, but like not by much. I'd probably say it was about 60-40, maybe like 55-45, but yeah, I feel like this worked out very, very well. Ricochet throwing himself around / being thrown around by Shelton Benjamin was a really cool part of the match. Brutal knee from Shelton Benjamin to Toga Leona. Can never remember which his first name is. Just before the owner took him and Bobby out of the match going into the finish. MVP taking the pin made absolutely perfect sense. It puts Ricochet over, but doesn't hurt Bobby or Shelton either. All these guys have really good chemistry together. It's a rematch I would absolutely love to see at some point, maybe just on a Dynamite. Maybe they do a trilogy of 6-man matches with these guys, because I feel like this worked really, really well. The Syndicate looked strong in defeat, but they do need a big win very soon, as this is 2 pay-per-view losses in a row for them, and if they're going to keep them as this dominant group, they need to start getting W's back on the board. But yeah, everything about this worked really, really well. I very much enjoyed it. The Demand had a very good first showing as like a proper team on a big stage. The Hurt Syndicate put them over really, really well. Like, yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about this one at all. Following that, we had Mercedes Moné successfully retain the TBS Championship against Riho. And yeah, this was a good match. Not great, but mainly because Moné was clearly winning this one. Riho was very competitive throughout the match, but the title never fell in jeopardy, and it did kind of take away from the match, in my opinion. But Riho took into the midsection really well, doing a lot of double foot stomps to the midsection of Mercedes Moné. Mercedes countered to the Hurricane Rana with the double knee. It looks really bad. So she has him almost drops. I don't know how to explain it. She drops them down to stops the Hurricane Rana, so they're in a tombstone position, lifts them up, and then just does a code breaker. It looks awful. I know she does it to some people. There's also opponents she can't do that to because they're just massive. Also, Riho's great counter to the Romero special, where she kind of gets her arms free but then keeps her balance so then she can easily escape it. I thought it was really cool. And her single-legged crab, where she kind of just bent all the way back. Her Mercedes leg looked like in all kinds of uncomfortable positions, but it was done really, really well. For the majority of the match, it was evenly contested, which I wasn't really expecting. I expected Mercedes to kind of dominate this one, but no, it was very evenly. It was very back and forth between these two. Riho actually is someone who Mercedes can hit the moneymaker on, which is obviously very good for her because that move normally looks absolutely ridiculous. But here it worked really well as far as the finish goes. Didn't really feel like Moné needed to cheat to win this one. She could have definitely won this one clean, but heel and stuff, I guess. It was a good title defense for her, one just to get her through to the next pay-per-view, I assume. I was hoping that after the match we might see her next opponent come out, which obviously didn't happen. But yeah, nothing really bad to say about this one. It just wasn't a classic. It wasn't a great match. Mercedes has had much better title defenses in the past. She's also had worse title defenses in the past. Britt Baker all in 2024. But yeah, overall it was pretty fine. I've got nothing bad to say. But I expected a little bit better out of Moné here, just as far as I don't know, that feels bad actually. I didn't expect better. I just wanted a better opponent for her other than Riho, someone who would have felt like more of a threat to the championship. Following that, Kazuchika Okada defeated Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada to retain the Unified Championship in what was a fantastic match. In ring, it was all out wrestling. Everything about it worked so well. It was just an absolutely fantastic match. I don't know what else I can really say about this one. Triple threats or three-way matches just seem to hit differently over the last couple of years, as it's very hard to have a bad triple threat or three-way match in any company right now. Mascara Dorada had a absolutely fantastic showing. I cannot compliment him enough. He was 100% the MVP of the match. Almost a star-making performance from him in AEW. The very, very hard-hitting styles of Okada and Takeshita linked with the Lucha Libre style of Dorada worked so well. It was so entertaining to watch. Everything just was so smooth and seamless. It was just great. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. Obviously, I kind of wrote off Dorada in my predictions. Didn't really expect him to do much here. Completely blew me away. I was an idiot for saying that. I cannot compliment the guy enough. They really, really killed it. The pacing was really, really well done. I noticed that Okada and Takeshita didn't have much interactions. They had some, but not enough to say that they were fully against each other at points within the match. And I prefer that 100%. I didn't want them in the match together, to be fair, but I knew as soon as we saw the tournament bracket it wasn't going to be any other way. But for me, you keep them apart until either the Continental Classic or even World's End, especially if they do the semi-finals and the finals at World's End. You could either have them face each other in the semis or have them face each other in the final for the championship again at World's End. And yeah, Takeshita versus Okada is a match that I have been wanting to have all year. So yeah, if I'm willing to wait until World's End, that's fine, because I know the Continental Classic is going to be pretty decent this year. I can just feel it. But yeah, this match is one of, if not the best match of the weekend, not of just of this show, of the entire weekend. And yeah, I've got nothing but positive to say about this one. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It is absolutely brilliant. After that, we had the coffin match where Jon Moxley defeated Darby Allin, and I really enjoyed this match. Darby is a mental MFer. The abuse on his back was awful throughout. Darby biting Moxley's ear to the point of bleeding is nuts. The fork spot returned, and yeah, no, I honestly hate that. Bryan Danielson on commentary providing a plastic bag is very funny, but also very hypocritical, because Bryan Danielson hates plastic. So why then would he bring a plastic bag to a wrestling show? Very surprised that Darby didn't really bleed that at all, if I don't think he bled. I don't think he bled himself at all, but Moxley bled enough for the both of them. The coffins were absolutely finished by the end. Both of them got absolutely messed up. I respected how Moxley sent the Death Riders away. I assumed that they were going to come back, and they didn't. But we did see the return of a very weird-looking Pac. He's cut all of his hair, so he don't have long hair anymore. He just has short hair. He looks, he kind of looks like a Geordie now, more than ever. But yeah, as I said, he just looks really, really weird. It's a bit like when Juice Robinson came back without a beard. It's just, everyone has just decided to look weird in AEW now. But due to Moxley's win, I very much doubt this is over. Just because Darby's match is the coffin match, maybe they have a Texas Death match or something in the future, and that's when Darby gets his comeuppance upon the Death Riders. But to be fair, I kind of expected more violence in this one. It wasn't quite violent enough for me, which it seems mad considering that Darby, got powerbombed through a coffin or onto the coffin, and it looked awful for the finish. But yeah, I just expected way more carnage for this one, and it wasn't the case. I'm not at all disappointed with the match. I still very much enjoyed it. I just expected them to go a little bit more all out. But no, Moxley winning was something I predicted, but was very surprised about still. As I said, it shows to me that this feud is going to continue going forward. What they do next, I don't really want to know, because it's probably going to be brutal. Following that, Chris Statlander defeated Thekla, Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm to become the new Women's World Champion. And oh man, the moment alone of Statlander winning the World Championship, it makes me smile. And he's smiling now. Whenever I think about it, I'm smiling. I absolutely love this decision. Statlander fully and is more than deserving of this win. The match was great as well. All of 4 women looked great. It was action-packed. There was not a dull moment in this one. All 4 women they didn't have like a spotlight. They just kind of had parts of the match where they were the main concentration, apart from one person. But Thekla looked very good in the early going of this match. She was pretty much taking on all 4 women at the same time. She looked awesome, and this made her look very strong in the defeat. Storm and Jamie Hayter were working together a lot, which I was very surprised about. But then, it might have been a case of, because they're like friends and stuff, I assumed that like they were around each other during the pandemic and stuff, I assume. So yeah, I fully expected that this would be the case. That's why I assumed that would be the case. That's why they worked together so well. They didn't really have like an individual moment where they took over the match. However, Statlander kind of played off the back foot for this one. She didn't really have a main point like in the match where she took over. But we'll kind of get to why I think that is. But yeah, I really enjoyed the multiple moments where they kind of took each other out, but people kept coming out from like off screen, if that makes sense. So like I feel like there's parts where people were doing suicide dives, but we couldn't see them coming. Same with the corner splashes as well. The symmetry between the both and the synergy between all 4 of them and the chemistry was really, really good. But yeah, between all the moments of individual stuff, it was fairly evenly matched overall. I feel like there was more even parts than there was individual parts, if that kind of makes sense. But getting on to Statlander, there are 2 things I noticed with this. Number 1, she spent most of the time not in the ring. She kind of was playing off the back foot for a while in this one. But it's one of the things I noticed, that when someone's going to win, especially when it comes to like ladder matches and battle royals, they kind of disappear for a bit and then they come back in and then they win the match. Secondly, I noticed that Thekla, Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter all hit their finishers, whereas Statlander did not. I know there was kind of a moment where it looked like she did Saturday Night Fever on the outside, but I feel like that was more of a tombstone power driver than anything else. But yeah, I think at the start of the match as well, Wheeler Yuta came out, and yeah, you couldn't hear what he said to Chris Statlander, but he kept clapping his hands as like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which you have to assume is him planting the seed of the seatbelt pin in Statlander's head. We know from the media scrum that Chris Statlander took full responsibility for thinking of the seatbelt pin from Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, but I don't think that's the case. But overall, I really love this one. Another nice detail within the match is Toni Storm's absolutely shocked look on her face. She I don't know whether she might feel like that Statlander stole it because it was a roll-up that she won by, not by a proper move, or whether Toni Storm didn't think she was actually going to beat her and then she did, but we know that Toni Storm is a big fan of Chris Statlander, so I don't know whether that will play into it as well. But one of the things I also like, I liked multiple things, but the fact that Chris Statlander pinned Tony Storm to get the win, I thought was a really good touch as well. I mean, kind of gives the champion that well, you didn't pin me to win, because, well, Statlander did. But yeah, this is very well deserved. I'm very, very happy with the result. I'm a big fan of Chris Statlander. I still want her to join Moxley, though. I still feel like this is still on the board for something that can happen. Obviously, I made a video about it. Do go check it out. It's on the channel. I made it maybe a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I absolutely love this. Every time I see it on social media, I just smile. I absolutely love this and cannot wait to see what Chris Statlander is like as a women's champion. And they also suggested in the media scrum that the Statlander and Tony Storm have not had a one-on-one match yet, like ever. So that is a match that I'm hoping they might save for Wrestle Dream, just so we can obviously go through the rematch clause thing, but also just so they can put on an absolutely awesome match. After that, we had Bandido defeat Hechicero and Josh Alexander of the Don Callis family, Jet Speed, so Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, and the Young Bucks in a 4-way ladder match. And yeah, you just can't go wrong with a multi-team ladder match. You know, they're a very fun match. It did get a little bit stagnant at times, but it didn't really take away from the match too much. For me, the Young Bucks were the MVPs of the match. They were involved in the majority of stuff going on within the match, not just in the ring. They played it very tactically correct throughout the whole match as well. They were very unlucky not to get the win here. I thought with how well they were playing it, they were going to win the titles. Why Speedball Mike Bailey would wrestle a tag team ladder match in barefoot, I have no idea. There is just way too many risks with doing that. I would have at least worn shoes for this one, but no, he didn't, and fair play to him. Maybe a little bit too much obvious moving of like people moving into positions to catch people and moving ladders mid-sequences, but again, it's just nitpicking, and it didn't really take away too much from the match for me. It's just, I don't like it when it's too obvious. I get that they have to do it, of course they have to do it, they have to be safe. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it because it wouldn't be realistic, but when it becomes too obvious because it's too consistent, it can damage a match a little bit. A really nice spot with the four corners in the tables. I thought that was a really cool thing. Kind of felt a bit like a copy from SummerSlam with the TLC match, but I'm not willing to look at that. I feel like it's just a really cool spot. Brody King doing a power driver to Speedball Mike Bailey through a ladder was holy shit good. Like, it was just like, you just knew that people were just out for the rest of the match. It looked brutal. Yeah, I love that Brody King is so tall that Bandido can get on his shoulders and pretty much reach and grab the championship. So I feel like it would have been a really, really good finish to the match, especially as they won. But overall, it was a good match, maybe even a great match for a ladder match. I would like to see maybe the Gates of Agony challenge next for these guys. But then after the match was just so awesome, so sick, and makes me again incredibly happy. After the match, we saw the return of Jack Perry, and he's talking to the Young Bucks, and then they got him set. They kind of overcame him with a numbers advantage because there's two of them, one of him, of course. But they get him set for a PTE trigger, and he is just smirking. He looks like a little boy with his dinosaur. So then all the lights went out, we saw a little clip, and then Luchasaurus showed up. Well, Killswitch showed up, and then he threw his Killswitch belt into the crowd, like, really heavily. Like, he threw that belt into the crowd with some force. Like, if it had hit a small child, he might have done some permanent damage, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything, so I think it's okay. And we saw the reuniting of one of my favourite ever tag teams, Jurassic Express, and we saw even Tarzan Boy play, and I was buzzing for this one. I can't wait to see them back together again. When I started watching AEW, Jurassic Express were the team that got me back invested in tag team wrestling again, and I'm hoping they're going to do the same again here. Maybe they challenge for the titles after they have their feud with the Bucks, and maybe they get involved with the Edge and Christian stuff as well. But yeah, so excited to see my favourite tag team back together again. And finally, in the main event, Hangman Adam Page defeated Kyle Fletcher to retain the AEW World Championship. And when I first watched this match, when I was watching it live, I thought, oh, this match is pretty good. You know, I can't see anything wrong with it. This has been a really solid showing for Kyle Fletcher. You know, it's fine. Probably would have given the triple threat match of the night. And then last night, I rewatched it. I rewatched the whole pay-per-view to make notes on it. And holy shit, this match was incredible. Like, this by far, match of the night, match of the whole weekend. It was unexpectedly amazing. And yeah, Fletcher had a like such an impressive showing. It's another career-making match for him. You know, what I like about this is the fact that Kyle Fletcher is now putting on absolute banger matches with people that aren't named Will Ospreay, because we know how good Ospreay is, and we know how him and Fletcher work really well together. But for him to be having absolutely spectacular matches away from Ospreay just shows how good this guy really is. From really early on, Kyle Fletcher was targeting Hangman's right arm, which is obviously the arm he does the buckshot lariat with. It was very, very smart. Felt like a little bit of Don Callis on there, but Don Callis has been the best thing that's happened to Kyle Fletcher ever, and Takeshita as well, of course. But yeah, following the feeling out process, Kyle Fletcher more or less controlled the match and felt like for quite a while as well, he was seeming. And what I liked about this as well is that Kyle Fletcher was like seemingly felt no pressure at all. You know, he looked so comfortable in this big match situation in the main event spot. And yeah, say the first half of the match I'd probably say was Fletcher's, and then the second half of the match was kind of Hangman a bit, and then, well no, that's not what I've written in my notes pretty much. So the first half of the match I would split into quarters. One quarter goes to Kyle Fletcher in control, the second half goes into Hangman in control, and then in the second half of the match, it was way more even, way more they're doing way bigger and impactful moves. The Deadeye, there was great pacing, fluid wrestling, the quality of wrestling was second to none, and it was all kind of different styles as well, which I always appreciate during these big, especially the main event matches. Like all of it, like just worked so well. There was no interference, there was no ref bumps. I was fully expecting a ref bump due to the stipulation of the match with Kyle Fletcher being stripped of the TT Championship if someone got involved. But no, nothing like that. Maybe I've just been watching too much WWE, which, well, I do watch too much WWE to be fair. But yeah, like everything, like all of it down to the last minute detail was just perfect. Like, it was just so, I cannot say enough good about this one. I can confidently say that, you know, Kyle Fletcher is just a complete package as a wrestler. The AEW will probably be built around him at some point, and he will, I guarantee, can confidently say, he will become a world champion at some point. The Deadeye spot through the table looked absolutely awful as they nearly missed the table. But following up, but wasn't just before, a little bit before that, we saw a brainbuster from Kyle Fletcher to Hangman through a table at the timekeeper's area. That looked brutal as well. Kyle Fletcher landed really, really high on his neck, but he seemed to be okay. The tributes to Swerve, Ospreay, and Omega during this match was really cool as well. I know some people might see it as cringy. Couldn't agree less. I thought this just fit really, really well. As long as it's not something we see all the time in Hangman matches, I'm totally okay with it. Right, okay, we're getting to like the really small writing because I was running out of space for the minute, so I do apologise if I'm looking away. But the sequence of wrestling at the half an hour point was absolutely brilliant. It was so good. I love sequence wrestling, and yeah, these two absolutely like killed it. It literally just as Justin Roberts announced it had just gone half an hour, and yeah, the last brainbuster was mental. It's the one where he makes the pin. Hangman kicks out, and then they cut to Danielson and Don Callis. I'll try and put the picture up on screen somewhere. But yeah, where like this kind of meme's created where Danielson is like losing his shit and Callis is trying to get Kyle Fletcher back in the game again. It's quite funny. But no, I fully understand Danielson's reaction to that. It was massive. But yeah, for me, the last Deadeye. Oh my god. The last Deadeye from Hangman. Kyle Fletcher just landed straight on the back of his neck. It was grim. The landing looked absolutely awful, but he seems okay, so fair play to him. But they wrestled pretty much the perfect match. Like, I see the only thing that was maybe missing was a little bit of red, a little bit of blood. But yeah, no, this was absolutely spectacular. One of the matches of the year, in my opinion. So happy I went back and watched it. It was just a truly brilliant match. It is like wrestling at its best, in my opinion. And yeah, I just can't wait to see these guys go at it again in a main event setting because, well, they have to after this one. It was so good. Yeah, I just cannot say enough good about this one. So those are my overall thoughts of AEW All Out 2025, and what a show it was. It was really fantastic. Was it one of their best? Not really. It had its faults. Eddie Kingston and Big Bill didn't really need to be on the card. I felt like that going into it, the main event match wasn't kind of a main event match, if that makes sense. If it had been early on in the show, it wouldn't have shocked me. I maybe would have put well, kind of, again, it's hindsight. So Hangman and Fletcher going on last was a perfect decision because it was a perfect match. But going into it, I thought the coffin match was going to be the main event because it had the most storyline investment in it. So maybe people were put off by the fact that the main event match wasn't seen as main event, even though it 100% was. It was so fucking good. But yeah, and there was also other stuff like the ladder match. Again, got stagnant at times. Eddie Kingston missing his finisher and still getting a 3 count wasn't great. As I said, AEW have done much better pay-per-views. All In Texas was definitely probably the event of the year for AEW this year so far. But it was still very good overall. This event I thought was really good still. Did AEW win the weekend? Yes, by a country mile they did. Like, there's no debating. If you think that WrestlePalooza was better than All Out, then you need to stop watching WWE and have a conversation with yourself, maybe go into the corner, rethink your life a little bit, and then come back and watch AEW All Out again. Because, you know, it was leaps and bounds above, like, quality of wrestling. You know, we haven't got to wait like 20 minutes or 50 minutes for adverts between matches, which makes us lose interest in these events. I think... yeah, the only thing that kind of maybe helped WWE in this case was the women's match was better. But then the women's match for AEW as a moment was awesome because Kris Statlander getting the win was, you know, massive for especially people who've been watching AEW since the beginning, which honestly I haven't. But yeah, to see Kris Statlander get that win was huge. So yeah, for me, AEW was 100% better than WWE this weekend, like they have been every weekend that they have clashed and counter-programmed AEW. But I'm thinking of doing a video tomorrow about the counter-programming. If you want to see that, do put down in the comments below. I will try and make that tomorrow. If not, maybe the day after, but I've got predictions for No Mercy and Victory Road coming up, so it probably will be tomorrow, hopefully, if I can get it written. But yeah, if it's something you want to see, do comment down below, yes or a no, or just yes, I want to see this video, like, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, no, overall, great show. If you enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe and all that good stuff. As I said, there's Victory Road and No Mercy coverage coming up. There's lists, there's coverage of WrestlePalooza that came out yesterday. And yeah, loads of other wrestling content coming up, so do stick around for all that as well. Thank you very much for watching. Up the AEW for the counter programming. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.